Hello, YouTube family. Welcome to Fo's Journey Across the Bridge. I'm Fozia. Hello. So today's topic that I want to talk to you guys about is anxiety and impulsivity. And I know that these are two words and terms that you can look up on Google and do your own search to learn more about. The reason I want to talk about it and go more in depth about it is to simply bring it's almost like you've there's this word anxiety, right? You read about it, and so but what does it really have to do with your life, or where is it showing up in your life? So for me, this is something that I can relate to, and I want to talk about how it has shown up in my life. And the reason I want to shine light on it, more light on it, not that there isn't already a lot of information out there about that and so on. So just kind of connecting this word, this term with my own experience. And I guess it's on this journey where I am, awakening more and more to myself and understanding myself better, doing a self-reflection and just having an idea of who I am, where I am, and what state am I in. And so understanding my overall health is very important, right? And so to say, like, the fact when I have started this journey of from mind to heart is really just awakening to the reality that, I'm not in the state of sleep where I'm not fully conscious of who is Fozia, right? And what has she been through and where is she currently? So it kind of brought me to explore more and more my own state, my past experiences, my own struggles that I've had, and to, what was the cause of them. And at the same time, understanding, like, certain responses, that I may have demonstrated, are they normal? Is that a normal response? Is that a response caused by something? And so having came into the awareness, a full awareness of how I had experienced a traumatic event, and just, diving deeper into that, right? So first it was just like, needing to take myself from one place to the next, of fully understanding, like, where do I want to go with my life? How do I want to live my best life? To, understanding what were the roadblocks, what were the limitations, where did they come from? And so in that same journey, in that same walk, I'm having this understanding that, hey, they are roadblocks, and so I'm just identifying them, right? Taking the step to fully understand, if I am stuck in one area in my life, what is the cause of that? So I look further into it and I investigate. And I kind of feel like in a sense I am self-diagnosing myself, because I'm trying to understand, is it, what is this that I'm feeling? And then when I find a word for it, or when I hear someone talk about it, or I watch a video, or just seeing it out external of me and saying, hey, I can relate to that. Like, oh, I thought this was just something that I struggle with. I thought that was a weakness for me. I didn't realize that this is an emotion or a trigger that is caused by something, that it can be triggered by something. And so, as I have mentioned in the previous videos, which I would say, go ahead and watch some of those videos as well. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe if you enjoy the content. And if you do enjoy the content, click the notification button, because it will let you know when I post some new things. And if you do like it, please click the like button. And since you're enjoying it, share it with someone so they can also have that information, right? Because when we have something that we benefit from, why not share with others, especially if we can share it freely. It doesn't really cost us anything. So subscribe, click the notification button, right? Hit like, and please share. So let's dive into this right now. So here we go. So I'm going to be reading some notes that I've taken down and on my phone. So I do apologize in advance for, looking up and down. And I realized as I was doing as I was preparing for this topic, right, I realized that, because I know I'm not, I didn't study, medicine, and I didn't study like the study of the mind or any type of, I've taken some psychology classes, but I'm not really placing myself in a space of where I am an expert in this and the information that I'm sharing. This is just me understanding what a word describes, and I can relate to the description of it. Like I've been and I have shown some of those behaviors and responses. So this is where I want to share this with you. So, anxiety. I'm gonna read it as I'm finding the definition in Google. I should probably be using a different definition to compare it as well. So here it says, anxiety is a normal reaction to stress and can be beneficial in some situations. It can alert us to danger and help us prepare and pay attention. Okay? And then it goes to say, anxiety disorder differ from normal feelings of nervousness or anxiousness and involve excessive fear or anxiety. Okay? So this is the definition about it. So what made me decide that I want to talk about anxiety? I know that there was I was watching something, it was a video or a movie, and it was just, they were describing anxiety. And I've talked to people about anxiety before, but never really in the state of like how it relates to me. And so, and then the person had demonstrated the behavior, the response, and they said, oh, I'm anxious right now, and they mentioned the word anxiety. So I was like, let me go look up anxiety and see how it's showing up for me. And so, and then when it comes to impulsiveness, how that plays into, how that plays into anxiety. Okay, so just my experience, I'm going to share that with you. So have you ever done something that you thought was helpful, only to later realize that it was an overreaction response? One that can be identified as a projection, okay? So why am I saying that? I'm saying, this is where I want to kind of introduce when you do something out of impulse, and then I'll tell you more about impulse as we continue, okay? I want to talk to you guys about anxiety and impulsivity, what it can stem from, and how it had shown up in my life and where it continues to still exist, and the negative side effects that can physically manifest as a result, such as upset stomach, which is one that has been present for me in the last year or so. Maybe I was having a hard time digesting my emotions. So the correlation between emotions that you're having, like you're having this anxiety and not understanding that as it happens frequently, it actually causing some kind of health issues for you, right? And then you might go to the doctor and say, I'm having like heartburns and I'm having all these like, issues, and not making the correlation between, because you're stressed and that stress is causing you to have anxiety, right? So for me, that was like it's almost like a bringing, even though I knew emotions can lead to illnesses and diseases and stuff like that, I wasn't connecting, the things such as anxiety or being impulsive or stressful, how specifically it was affecting me, my body, right? So though I knew, I wasn't really connecting the two. And so that's why I wanted to come and talk about it, So the more I prepare to share with you guys my take on these specific topics that I can relate to, it is becoming clear to me how serious the issues of these topics can be, right? And how the signs manifesting the evidence should not be ignored. So that's my thing, right? Like, say you are having heartburn and you go to the doctor and you're like, I'm having heartburn. And, you go through the series of questions that they ask you. Has anything changed? Have you started eating this and that? And so what I would also encourage is like, go a step further. It's like also identifying like taking an inventory of like where you are. We talked about this in the previous video, right? It's like where are you currently, like in your life? Like how are you feeling? Are you stressed out? Are you doing a daily checks? And what that does is it allows you to see how often you are in a certain state. If you're stressed often, you want to know that, and then what is causing that stress. And so then from that information, you can look up things, you know, like the connection between stress and heartburn, the connection between memory loss and stress, whatever it may be, to bring your attention to it. So though I know, as I've said a few minutes ago in this, as I was explaining, I guess this is my video that I want to share with you guys. Is like, it's almost like an alarm, right? It's like, I want this to be your alarm to not ignore. Don't ignore what you know, any physical or emotional that you're having, like issues. Don't ignore them, right? It's important to identify them. I can say that for a very long time, I had anxiety and I didn't know I had anxiety. It goes back to the many different issues that I had experienced over the course of my life that I had just labeled as it's something I do. It was like I made it as part of my identity. Like I was, if I was feeling inadequate, right? I just, you know, as I blamed me, I turn and say, you know, what's wrong with you? You know, why aren't you smart in this area? Why aren't you capable of performing in this way? Why aren't you doing that? And I didn't look at it as caused by something else, right? Like say, if you're born with a certain thing, even so, you know, like this is, you know, this part of my body doesn't function well because I don't have this or because of that. There's a reason for it. I just didn't know. I didn't know that there was a reason for some of the stuff I was going through. I didn't know if I call them normal, but I just identify with them as my issue. That's like part of my personality. So, and the more I am uncovering that that's not the case, the more I am so I am just so grateful. Like I feel myself sitting back in this state of like surrendering and letting go of these labels as if they are me, because I am calling them to the surface. I am identifying what they are, what they were, like what triggered them, what caused them to surface in the first place. What is the reason of their presence? Like what caused them to be present? Do you see what I'm saying? Like say you have a scar on your legs and you're like, I'm not remembering this scar. Or you have a scar and someone, you know, new in your life says, oh, this scar, where is it from? You can say, oh, when I was a kid, I rode a bike and I fell, or I was running playing tag. You have an information as to why something is there. Or it could be like a birthmark, you were born with it. So this is what I'm saying. Like I took it as like these different birthmarks and not knowing that they were scars, that had, you know, that were part of my experience, that were part of my history, part of my, you know, childhood. I didn't know they were related to the traumas that I've experienced as a kid. And so burying it again, it comes all back to that. So I'm fascinated as I discover all the different traits that are associated to the trauma that I have been demonstrating as a way of describing me. I just took ownership of them, but they're not me, right? They're not me. They were just caused by it and are triggered by it. So, you know, worry thoughts, constant worry thoughts, you know, to the point where it didn't let me stay still. This was my childhood constantly. And as I, even in my adult, where I am currently, I can say over the past couple of years, I've always had these thoughts. You know how they call them these negative thoughts, and you have to speak positively, and you have to manifest all these different ways of speaking. But they were these type of thoughts that didn't make sense, and it wasn't like, and they just repetitive. So, you know, being in this state of continuing to awaken to the truth of who I am, you know, has allowed me to go, well, no, those are not really, you know, they're not really my thoughts, and they're just like spinning, and they're just coming at me. So like, and they're not the true state of what's going on. So what are they? So that has begun my search into understanding these thoughts, right? And so, you know, physical changes can increase as well, like increased blood pressure. To me, I would want to know that. I would want to know that if I had high blood pressure, like, what is the cause of it? Is it the food I'm eating? Then I can change it, right? Is it that I need to get more physical activity? Then I can do that. But imagine if it's like from anxiety, from the worried thoughts that are just, so it's almost like understanding your overall health, right? Your body is responding to you. So you don't just check, okay, is it, you know, is it the food I'm eating? Am I working out, and just leaving that alone? But taking it a step further, take it a step further and check with your mental health. Take it a step further. Okay, and I know I've said this, I think, also before. Now mental health is more something that is talked about. So I hope that people can step into having that that relaxed approach to understanding their own mental health, because you need to know your own mental health, right? Whether it's something you can change, and there's, you know, there's something you can do about it, and if there isn't, you also want to know. So understand it, because it would be so unfair to have arrived at a state of having anxiety, one triggered by trauma, you know, caused by trauma, and you think is just the way you express yourself. You think that that's just part of your identity, like, you know, that this is your personality. So I would say, look into those things. Explore your overall health, okay? So anxiety is not only felt mentally or emotionally, it can manifest physically as well, right? And the high blood pressure and other ways as well. And it talks about when the severity of the anxious feeling is disappropriate to the trigger, that's also a cause for alarm, right? So that's where I was saying how when I would have these worried thoughts, I would say to myself, like, why am I worried? Like, it's almost like you do like a check. Is everything okay? Am I okay? Is there fire going on? No, are the kids okay? And when you realize that, yeah, everything is okay, then you realize that there's something happening in your mind that is causing alertness when there isn't a need for the alertness. So I had found another information about that I want to share with you guys right now in terms of that. So like when you look around and you realize, like, you know, that's not going on. All right, so